Namaste, I'm Dr. Shweta Chaudhary, Assistant Professor in Mewar University, and this we will discuss communication under uh, organization behavior. Now, it provides an outline of the topic that we will cover during this presentation. Okay, like we will discuss about what is communication, its function, its process, its direction, interpersonal communication. We will discuss organizational communication. Also, we will discuss the choice, like various choices of channels of communication. We will be discussing barriers for effective communication. Also, we will discuss and current issues in communication also. Then we will discuss about non-verbal communication, which includes body language, gesture, facial expression, posture. Somebody has said, action speak louder than words. So yeah, this is a non-verbal communication. There's some process also, which involves that there should be a sender, receiver, channel is there, feedback is there, and the communication is basically a vital for collaboration and even for problem solving, decision making within an organization. Now we will discuss the function, the various roles that communication plays in an organization. First one is informing. Informing means basically providing relevant information and sharing fact. Then persuading means changing others' attitude, beliefs, and behavior, which is important. Coordinating also, which facilitates teamwork and task coordination. It even through communication you can motivate also through encouraging individual to strive towards organizational goals. It helps in controlling also because guiding and managing behavior according to organizational rule, and emotional expressions is also there in communication through sharing your emotions or personal concern among employees. Then we will discuss communication process. There are various some steps in communication process that a sender is there. Sender is basically the individual who is initiating the communication. Message, you can say that content or the information be communicated. Then encoding is there, means translating the message into an understandable words, like words or symbols or some, it should be some format which a person can understand. Channel is there. Channel is basically the medium used to send the message. Either it's face-to-face communication is there here. This is a channel, or email you are using. So through which channel you are doing the communication. Receiver. Receiver is the individual who receives and interpret the message. Decoding is basically the process by which the receiver interpret the message. This is really very important because sometimes sender speaks something but receiver is not able to decode the message in the same manner. Feedback is like when the receiver responses to ensure that the message has been understood in the same manner in which sender wanted to give. Noise, you can say any external factors like distraction, language barrier that disrupt the communication process, because we have seen so many people when they are communicating with other people, so they want to speak something, they want to say something, but the other person is not able to communicate in the same, other person does not understand it in the same manner. So yeah, it plays a communication process plays a really very important role. Now we will discuss the direction of communication. It basically explains the different direction that communication can flow within an organization. First one is downward communication. As it's the word itself says, downward means from higher level to lower. Example, basic example, you can say instructions are there, some policies are there. Upward communication means lower to higher management, means like feedback, performance reports. Then we have this horizontal communication, communication between colleagues at the same level. Like for example, you can say collaboration across a department. Then the last one is diagonal communication. It includes cross-departmental communication between individual at different level. Like example, senior manager communicates with a junior employee from different department. It highlights the significance of one-on-one or small group communication in workplace. So it has got some key elements like active listening, fully engaging with the speaker, understanding their message and responding appropriately. They are the active listeners. Non-verbal communication. Sometimes you're not speaking it through gestures, facial language, or body language, or eye contact. You are trying to communicate. Verbal communication. So the words of or the language used in the conversation is verbal. Emotional intelligence. This is basically the ability to recognize, understand, and manage one's emotion and those of others. It is also important because sometimes if like some person is communicating something and he's emotionally down and you interpret something else, it creates problem. Now we will discuss about organizational communication, how communication occurs within an organization. Sometimes it's formal and sometimes it's informal structure. So internal communication, so if we can say communication amongst employee like through meeting, memos. External communication is basically communication with the external stakes, example customers or vendors. Formal communication, communication that basically allows the official hierarchy, example through reports or meeting. Then we have informal communication, like casual communication with your friends outside a formal channel, like gossip, social chats, and all. Then we have this written you can say through email or through report. This is basically useful for documentation for formal communication. Then we have this telephonic communication, good for quick communication without the need for face-to-face interaction. We just call the other person and the other person will will listen to whatever problem you are having or whatever you want to communicate. Video conferencing nowadays like increasing. This is basically ideal for remote teams or discussing requiring visual interaction because there are some things which really need to be you should have a face-to-face communication, but every time it's not possible that all the people who wants to communicate should be in the same room. So yeah, video conferencing is a very good example for communication. And social media is taking a hype. So yeah, this is effective or quick and informal communication. There are some factors for consideration like message complexity, urgency, audience preference. So now there are some barriers of communication, like some language barrier. Language barrier, there are some common barriers. First one we can discuss about Uh, language barrier. Language barrier is basically misunderstanding due to cultural differences. There are some other issues. So you're not able to understand what the person is trying to communicate. You don't understand the language of the other person. Physical barriers like environmental factors like noise or poor network communication. So obviously you won't be able to understand the communication. Emotional barrier, suppose you are really very high, the other person is low, so there are some communication gap. Then we have cultural barrier, difference in communication style across the culture. Nowadays as organizations are having people from all over the world, so cultural barriers is a problem. Perception barrier, somebody want to say something but you have perceived that particular message in some different manner, so yeah, you have perception barrier. Information overload, you are getting too many information, so get sometimes confused. So okay, fine, which message you are supposed to take? So yeah, we can say information overload plays a problem. In this, we will discuss the modern challenges in organization communication. The first is remote communication, because as we can say, the people are doing remote jobs. So yeah, remote communication is a problem because challenges is managing communication in virtual and hybrid work environment. There is digital transformation to adapt to new communication tool like AI driven communication Again, it's challenge information overload, because nowadays people are getting too many lots and lots of information. So excessive information is always problematic. Generational difference, as if you like people who are working in an organization, a person 60 year of age, okay, who is working with today's people who's like 20 years of age, so huge generation gap is there. So yeah, they are facing communication problem. Crisis communication, effective communication during emergency or organization. This kind of communication is basically done during the crisis, which is like layoff are there, product recall is there. Finally, I would like to conclude that effective communication is the backbone of any successful organization. It facilitates the sharing of ideas, goals, and exception between the employee and their leadership. So yeah, communication is really very important. To communicate effectively, it, it's very essential to grasp how communication work, its process, and how its obstacles may hinder. And we can also say that there are some barriers also during the communication, so we should always try to remove those barriers. That's it. Thank you so much.